There comes a time in a woman's life when the very thing that once crushed her spirit becomes the testimony of her strength. There is a season when tears dry up, when pain is transformed into wisdom, and when the cycle of struggle is broken for good. Today, I came to announce to every woman under the sound of my voice, congratulations, it's done. The door of suffering is closed. That chapter is finished, and you will never have to go through that again. The season of struggle has an expiration date. Every season in life has a clock attached to it. Nothing you've ever faced was designed to last forever. Think about it. Winter looks like it will never end, but eventually spring pushes its way through. The same is true with your struggles. That dark night you went through had an expiration date, and many of the tears you cried were only watering the ground for a new season that was about to blossom. When you thought you were buried, you were actually planted. There are moments when life convinces you that pain is permanent. The heartbreak feels like it's tattooed on your soul. The disappointment echoes in your mind every morning, and the failures replay like a broken record. But even the most painful experiences have a shelf life. Just as milk expires, so do your storms. Just as medicine bottles have an expiration date, so does the trouble in your life. Nothing you went through was eternal. It only seemed that way because the weight pressed so heavily on your heart. Look at your own life. Think about the seasons you thought you'd never escape. Maybe it was a toxic relationship where you lost yourself piece by piece. Maybe it was a job that drained your spirit, but you stayed because you didn't see another option. Maybe it was loneliness so loud that even the sound of laughter felt foreign. And yet, here you are. You outlived it. You survived what you once thought would consume you. If you can look back today, you'll realize that what once looked endless was actually temporary. Life is full of endings and beginnings, but the problem is we often get stuck staring at the ending, afraid to turn the page. When a relationship crumbles, we assume that's the whole story. When a business fails, we think that's the end of our potential. But let me remind you, failure is an event, not an identity. Struggle is a season, not your permanent address. If you pack your bags and pitch your tent in the middle of pain, you'll forget that there's a promised land waiting just a few miles ahead. Think about a woman in labor. The pain of childbirth feels like it will break her apart. She screams, she cries, she sweats. She feels like she can't endure another second. But that pain has a time limit. That contraction has a countdown. And when the time is complete, the pain gives birth to joy. The very thing that was tearing her apart was actually producing something new. That's how your struggle works. It pushes, it stretches, it hurts, but it cannot last forever. At some point, it has to give way to purpose. Your storms are not eternal, they are seasonal, and seasons are designed to shift. Nobody has ever seen summer last forever. Nobody has ever seen the night hold the sun hostage. You might be in a winter season now, but spring has already been scheduled on your calendar by life itself. You don't have to force it, you don't have to beg for it, and you don't have to panic. It's already built into the design of your destiny. The problem is, many people make the mistake of thinking the struggle defines them. They let a season convince them it's permanent. You hear them say things like, "This is just my life. This is how it's always going to be." But no, that's not true. You are not your struggle. You are not your heartbreak. You are not your losses. Those were chapters, not the title of the book. Your identity is not locked inside your season of pain. That pain was only a teacher, and once the lesson is complete, the class ends. Every struggle has a purpose and a period. It comes with both a reason and a time limit. The reason is to shape you, grow you, stretch you, and prepare you. The time limit is to remind you that your destiny is bigger than any delay. So when you find yourself in the middle of a storm, instead of asking, "Why me?" start asking, "What am I learning?" Because the faster you understand the lesson, the quicker the season ends. Think about your phone battery. It doesn't last forever, it drains with use. Trouble works the same way. It has only so much power. Eventually, it runs out of energy. That pain that once kept you up at night will not have the same power tomorrow. That anxiety that gripped your chest last year will not control you next year. Struggles deplete. They have a finish line, whether you can see it or not. So when life pushes you to your breaking point, remind yourself this too will pass. When the voices in your head say it's over, remind yourself, no, it's only temporary. When the weight feels unbearable, whisper to yourself, I'm closer to the expiration date than I think. Because if you're still breathing, you're still moving. And if you're still moving, the season is shifting in your favor. The very fact that you are here right now means that something already ended. You outlived the last heartbreak. You overcame the last disappointment. You buried the last failure. And if you survived that, you can survive this. Because every struggle has an expiration date, and nothing in your life is strong enough to outlast the destiny you were created to walk into. What tried to break you, built you the truth about life, is that the very things that tried to destroy you were the same things that built you. Every heartbreak that made you cry yourself to sleep was not wasted. It became the foundation for your wisdom. Every betrayal that left you questioning people's loyalty was not just pain, it was training ground for discernment. What you thought was sent to break you was actually sent to shape you into a version of yourself that could not be shaken so easily again. Life has a way of turning your enemies into unintentional teachers, your struggles into classrooms, and your setbacks into stepping stones. Think about the times you were rejected. Maybe you didn't get the job you prayed for. Maybe the person you loved walked away. Maybe doors kept closing in your face. In the moment, it felt like your heart couldn't take another blow. You thought rejection was a sign of failure. But look closer, rejection redirected you. That job you lost pushed you into discovering talents you never knew you had. That relationship that ended forced you to rediscover your value and never again settle for less than you deserve. The people who walked out of your life were not subtracting from you. They were making space for something greater. The pain of rejection was building in you a new level of strength that comfort could never give you. Pain has a way of teaching lessons that blessings never can. When life is smooth, we rarely question ourselves. But when we fall flat, when people disappoint us, when plans collapse, that's when we are forced to look deeper. That's when resilience is born. You never knew how strong you were until you had no choice but to be strong. You never knew how much you could endure until endurance was your only option. And now, when storms come, you don't panic the same way. You don't crumble the same way. Because what once broke you now built you into someone who can stand. Take a look at gold. Gold in its raw form doesn't look valuable. It looks like ordinary rock. The only way it becomes beautiful is through fire. The heat strips away the dirt, the impurities, the unnecessary weight, until what is left is pure, shining, unbreakable. That's exactly what happened to you. The fire you went through, the heartbreak, the betrayal, the setbacks, wasn't designed to destroy you. It was designed to refine you. You thought the flames were punishment, but they were actually preparation. You thought the suffering was the end, but it was really the beginning of a stronger, sharper, wiser version of yourself. Consider how muscles grow. They don't grow and rest, they grow when they are torn. The process of lifting weights literally causes small tears in the muscle fibers. Those tears hurt, they stretch, they break down the old. But in recovery, the muscle repairs itself, stronger, thicker, and more powerful than before. That's exactly what your struggles did. They tore you, yes. They stretched you, yes. They hurt you deeply. But in the recovery, in the healing, in the rebuilding, you came back stronger than you were before. You're no longer fragile. You're no longer naive. You're no longer easy to manipulate. You became durable because of the very things that tried to damage you. Even in your relationships, what tried to break you ended up building you. Think of the times you gave your heart away to people who did not know how to handle it. At first, it broke you. It shattered your trust. It made you question your worth. But slowly, you began to understand that your worth is not defined by who mishandled you. You discovered that your value doesn't decrease because someone failed to see it. You began to build boundaries, standards, and expectations that protect your soul. Now, you don't tolerate what you once tolerated. You don't accept what you once accepted. You don't shrink yourself to fit into spaces where you were never meant to belong. That strength, that wisdom, that dignity was built by the very pain that once tried to crush you. The storms you went through added layers to your character. You used to be too trusting, too available, too easy to sway. But now you carry discernment. Now, you can look at a situation and sense if something is not right. You can walk into a room and feel if someone's energy is toxic. You can sense when someone's words don't align with their intentions. Where did that gift come from? It came from what tried to break you. Those experiences sharpened your instincts. They trained your spirit to see beyond appearances. You can now recognize truth from deception because pain was your teacher and wisdom was the diploma it handed you. Even your silence has changed. Before, you may have argued with everyone who misunderstood you. You may have tried to prove yourself to people who never believed in you. But after what you've endured, you no longer waste energy like that. You've learned the power of silence. You've discovered that peace is more important than proving a point. You've learned that not every battle is yours to fight. That maturity, that discipline, that calmness came from what once tried to stir chaos inside you. So every scar you carry is not evidence of defeat, it is evidence of survival. Every tear you cried was not wasted. It watered the soil of resilience in your spirit. Every loss you endured was not subtraction. It was multiplication in disguise. The storms were building strength. The betrayals were building wisdom. The failures were building determination. And now, the version of you that stands today is not the same version that walked into the fire. What tried to break you built you. And what built you cannot be broken again in the same way. Your identity is not in your past. You are not what happened to you. Too many people walk through life carrying a name that pain gave them. They wake up and label themselves by their failures, by their heartbreaks, by their mistakes. A woman who was abandoned starts to call herself unworthy. A woman who was betrayed starts to believe she is unlovable. A woman who failed in business begins to think she is a failure. But none of those things are true. What you went through was an event, not an identity. It may have touched your life, but it does not define your life. Think about it. When a glass falls and breaks, we call it broken glass. But it does not lose the fact that it was glass in the first place. And with the right hands, even broken glass can be melted down, reshaped, and turned into something new and more beautiful than before. That is you. You might have been shattered, but you have not lost your essence. You might have been bruised, but you have not lost your value. You might have been misunderstood, but your identity was never tied to people's opinion of you. The danger of living in the past is that it convinces you that your story is already written. It whispers that because you failed once, you'll always fail. Because you were hurt once, you'll always be hurt. Because you were rejected, you'll always be rejected. But that's a lie. Your past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. It's a teacher, not a prison. You can learn from it, but you cannot live there. If you keep rehearsing the past, you'll start reliving it. And if you keep reliving it, you'll miss the future that was designed with your name on it. Daily life proves this. Think about when you upgrade your phone. You don't keep the old one's glitches, the bugs, the slow apps. You move forward. The old phone had its purpose, but it cannot define what the new one can do. That's exactly how your life works. Yesterday's you was necessary for the journey, but it cannot limit what today's you is capable of. If you allow yourself to carry the glitches of the past, you'll never experience the speed, the clarity, the power of who you are now. People often mislabel themselves based on their pain. A divorce does not mean you are unworthy of love. A failed exam does not mean you are unintelligent. Being overlooked at work does not mean you are useless. Those are situations, not definitions. The most dangerous thing you can do is let a temporary season put a permanent label on your identity. That's why you must separate what happened to you from who you are. You went through failure, but you are not failure. You walked through rejection, but you are not rejection. You faced heartbreak, but you are not heartbreak. There is power in redefining yourself beyond the past. For example, look at someone who lost their job. In that moment, they might feel crushed. They might tell themselves they are not good enough, not capable enough, not valuable enough. But when you shift the perspective, losing that job could be the very thing that awakens creativity. It could push them into starting a business, into building something they never would have dared to try. The job was lost, but the identity of being resourceful, creative, and resilient was born. That's the difference between defining yourself by events and defining yourself by truth. Your past is proof that you survived, not proof that you are stuck. Every scar you carry is not a sign of shame, it's a sign of strength. When people see your scars, they see evidence of pain, but what they don't realize is that scars only exist because healing already happened. You don't carry open wounds anymore. You carry healed marks. And those marks tell a story. Yes, you went through it, but you came out of it. Yes, you suffered, but you survived. Yes, you were broken, but you are still standing. When you truly understand this, you stop living in apology. You stop explaining yourself to people who will never understand your journey. You stop trying to fit into the image that others painted of you based on what they saw in your past. You stop shrinking yourself to make people comfortable. Instead, you walk boldly in the reality that your identity is not in your failures, but in your resilience. Not in your scars, but in your strength. Not in your pain, but in your purpose. Think about a seed. Before it becomes a tree, it has to go underground into darkness, covered in dirt. If someone judged it in that moment, they'd call it buried. They'd call it lost. They'd call it dead. But that seed was not finished. It was just in process. And soon, the dirt that tried to bury it became the very soil that nourished it. Your past is dirt, yes, but it's not burial, it's planting. What you went through is covering you, shaping you, preparing you to rise stronger. So many women need to be reminded you are not your abuse. You are not your betrayal. You are not your loss. You are not your mistakes. You are more than what happened to you. If you keep replaying yesterday's pain, you will keep reliving yesterday's identity. But if you choose to see yourself as more, then your past becomes nothing more than a stepping stone into the life you were created for. Your identity is not in your past, it is in your purpose, and no pain you endured has the power to take that away. Congratulations. The cycle is broken. There comes a moment in life when you look back and realize the cycle that once held you captive no longer has power over you. The same pain that used to haunt you, the same voices that used to torment you, the same patterns that used to repeat themselves, they suddenly lose their grip. You wake up one day and recognize that the door you kept walking through is now permanently closed. That toxic relationship you thought you would never escape is no longer your story. The sleepless nights that drained your energy, the silent tears you cried on your pillow, the endless questions of why me. All of it has reached its expiration. The cycle is broken. Think about how cycles work. They keep spinning until something interrupts them. A washing machine doesn't stop until it's commanded. A fan doesn't stop turning until it's switched off. And the cycles in your life, the cycles of pain, of toxic patterns, of wrong choices, kept spinning because you didn't realize you had the power to switch them off. But today, you have taken authority. The very thing that kept you repeating the same story has been interrupted. You don't have to cry about the same person anymore. You don't have to lose sleep over the same worry anymore. You don't have to replay the same trauma anymore. Congratulations, the cycle is broken. So many women find themselves repeating what they swore they'd never tolerate again. They leave one toxic situation only to find themselves in another, because cycles don't break by accident, they break by awakening. An awakening comes through pain, through awareness, through courage. You might have felt stuck for years, circling around the same mountain, praying for change, wishing for something different. And now you've stepped out of the circle and into a straight path forward. That's how freedom begins. Not when everything around you changes, but when you realize you're no longer willing to walk in circles. Daily life gives us examples of cycles everywhere. Take a spinning wheel. As long as the force keeps it moving, it keeps going in circles. But if you stop pushing, if you stop fueling it, the wheel slows down and eventually comes to a halt. That's what happened to the cycle in your life. It lost fuel. You stopped feeding it with fear. You stopped entertaining what was draining you. You stopped agreeing with what was belittling you. You stopped investing your energy into what was breaking you. And once you stopped feeding it, the cycle lost its power. Remember the nights when you swore you'd never cry over the same thing again, yet the tears came anyway. Remember the mornings when you promised yourself you'd walk away, yet you stayed a little longer. Those were moments of weakness, yes, but they were also moments of preparation. Every tear, every prayer, every wrestle was weakening the chain. The chain looked unbreakable, but it was getting thinner with every decision you made to fight. And finally, the moment came when the chain snapped. The cycle ended. You don't belong to it anymore. Breaking cycles doesn't just change you, it changes generations. The decision you made to end the pain means your children won't have to repeat it. The courage you showed to walk away from what was toxic means the next generation won't call bondage normal. The strength you displayed in silence, when no one saw the battles you were fighting, is now the reason a new legacy begins. A broken cycle is not just personal victory, it is generational freedom. Think about it. If a woman was raised in an environment where she constantly saw abuse, neglect, or lack of love, she might believe that's all there is. She grows up repeating the same relationships, accepting the same wounds, because that's the cycle she inherited. But when she finally says, "No more," Not in my life, not in my home, not in my family. She breaks something much bigger than herself. She changes the script. She rewrites the story. She becomes the evidence that a cycle can end with one decision, one act of courage, one refusal to settle for less than what she deserves. And when cycles break, you start to notice the difference in your spirit. You laugh more easily. You breathe more freely. You walk with a lighter step. People may not understand what changed, but you know it. You know that the prison doors are wide open and you are walking into newness. The things that once triggered your tears no longer affect you the same way. The names you were once called no longer sting. The memories that used to paralyze you no longer control you. The cycle is broken and you are free. What was once normal to you now feels unacceptable. Where you used to tolerate disrespect, now you guard your peace. Where you used to allow manipulation, now you recognize it from a distance. Where you used to pour yourself out for people who never valued you, now you choose to pour into yourself first. This is what breaking cycles looks like. It changes your perspective. It changes your standards. It changes your future. You no longer live like a prisoner to patterns. You live like a woman who knows her worth. So when you wake up in the morning, remember this truth: the same thing that once broke you no longer has permission to touch you. The same situation that once drained you no longer has a place in your life. You've graduated from that classroom. You've passed that test. You've closed that door. The circle is complete, the chain is snapped, the cycle is broken, and your story has turned a brand new page. The future belongs to you, the future belongs to you, and that truth is bigger than the pain of your past. Too often we let yesterday dictate how far we can see tomorrow. We let the shadows of disappointment stretch so far that they block the sunlight of hope. But your future is not chained to the mistakes you made, the people who left you, or the failures you experienced. Your future is fresh, unmarked, unwritten, and it's waiting for you to step into it with boldness. Think about a driver on the road. The windshield is wide and expansive, while the rearview mirror is small. Why? Because where you're going is far more important than where you've been. If you spend all your time looking at the rearview mirror, you will crash. The road ahead is wide, filled with possibility, waiting for you to move forward. That's how your life is designed. The past is a small reference, but the future is a wide open journey. Stop living in the mirror. Start focusing on the windshield. Many women lose sight of this truth because they've been taught to expect more of the same. They believe that because yesterday was filled with pain, tomorrow will be no different. But think about nature. After every storm, the skies eventually clear. After every night, the sun always rises. There has never been a storm in history that lasted forever. There has never been a night so strong that it could cancel the dawn. The future always comes, and it always brings change with it. What you're facing now is not a life sentence. It's just a moment. The future belongs to you, because everything you went through was preparing you for it. The heartbreak taught you how to love yourself. The rejection taught you how to value your worth. The losses taught you how to stand on your own. The lessons you carry are not baggage. They are equipment. You are more prepared now than you've ever been. You are wiser now. You are stronger now. You are sharper now. You may not have chosen the pain, but the pain has prepared you for a destiny where you will no longer be fooled, no longer be broken so easily, no longer settle for less. The future belongs to you because now you are ready to handle it. Think about planting a seed. For months, nothing seems to happen. The dirt covers it, the rain drenches it, the darkness hides it. But underground, roots are being formed, strength is being built, preparation is happening. Then suddenly, one day, a sprout pushes through the soil and begins to grow. That's your life. For a long time, you may have felt buried, forgotten, and overlooked. But in reality, you were being prepared underground. And now is the season when you begin to sprout. Your future is breaking through the soil, and nothing can stop it from growing into the fullness of what it was meant to be. The beauty of the future is that it listens to your decisions, not your fears. If you decide to rise, the future rises with you. If you decide to walk away from what is toxic, the future opens new doors of peace. If you decide to believe in yourself, opportunities begin to align in ways you never imagined. Your future is not dictated by your pain. It is directed by your choices. And every time you choose to believe that something greater is possible, you are unlocking another level of the life that belongs to you. Look at the butterfly. Before it flies, it's a caterpillar crawling slowly, vulnerable, unseen. Then it enters the cocoon, a place of darkness, a place of isolation, a place of transformation. From the outside, it looks like the end, but in reality, the cocoon is a waiting room for destiny. When the butterfly emerges, it no longer crawls, it soars. That is the picture of your future. You may have been in a cocoon of pain, but it was not your end. It was your preparation. The wings are ready. The flight is ahead. The future is not about crawling anymore. It is about soaring. And here's the powerful truth. The future doesn't just belong to you. It's waiting for you to claim it. The opportunities, the joy, the love, the breakthroughs, they are already written with your name on them. They are not for someone else, they are for you. Too many people disqualify themselves before they even try. They say, I'm too broken, I'm too old, I've made too many mistakes. I don't deserve it. But the truth is, everything you've been through makes you qualified. The cracks in your past don't disqualify you. They make you authentic, real, and strong enough to handle what is coming. The future belongs to you because no one else can live it for you. Nobody else can walk in your shoes. Nobody else can carry your dreams. Nobody else can unlock your destiny. It is tailor-made for you. What you lost in the past cannot compare to what is waiting in the future. The doors that closed on you cannot compare to the doors that are about to open. The love that left you cannot compare to the love that is about to embrace you. The tears you cried cannot compare to the joy that is coming to fill your heart. You may not see it all yet, but the shift has already begun. The things that once drained you are losing their power. The people who once misunderstood you are no longer your focus. The places that once trapped you are no longer your home. You have been repositioned for something greater. The page has turned, the story is advancing, and the future that belongs to you is unfolding step by step. All you have to do is keep moving forward, keep believing, keep refusing to settle, and the life that was designed for you will meet you on the other side of your courage. You have walked through storms that others would have drowned in, and you're still standing. You have carried burdens that would have crushed weaker shoulders, and yet you're still breathing. That alone is proof that your story is far from over. When life tried to write you off, when people counted you out, when the weight of your past told you there was no way forward, you defied every voice, every doubt, and every obstacle. That is the mark of someone chosen for greatness. The pain you endured was not meant to bury you. It was meant to plant you. And planted things rise again. You were not buried in shame. You were planted in purpose. You were not buried in fear. You were planted in strength. You were not buried in rejection. You were planted in redirection. Every tear you shed watered the soil for your comeback. Every sleepless night was a seed for the harvest of peace you are about to reap. And the very people who thought they were watching your downfall will live to see your rise. Remember this broken crayon still color. You may feel like life snapped you in half, but your ability to create beauty has not been lost. In fact, it's been magnified. You are more resourceful, more resilient, more radiant now than you've ever been. The scars on your soul are not signs of defeat. They are medals of honor that prove you survived battles others never even saw. And those scars are about to shine as reminders that nothing and no one has the power to destroy what is divinely unstoppable. Do not let the memory of who left you blind you to the promise of who is coming. Do not let the weight of what ended make you miss the wonder of what is beginning. Life is not a cycle of constant loss. It is a journey of constant renewal. You are being renewed, redefined, and repositioned for something bigger than what you lost. The past was preparation. The future is manifestation. You are stepping into the season where everything that once hurt you is going to help you, where everything that once weakened you is going to strengthen you, and where everything that once broke you is going to build you into unshakable greatness. Let this be the moment where you stop apologizing for surviving. Let this be the season where you stop dimming your light because others are uncomfortable with your shine. Let this be the chapter where you stop replaying the voice of the past and start declaring the vision of your future. The crown that slipped from your head in pain is being placed back, not by the hands of others, but by your own hands, with dignity, with courage, with authority. You no longer need validation. You no longer need permission. You no longer need acceptance. You are enough as you are, stronger than you've ever been, wiser than you've ever known, and ready for what's ahead. And when you rise, and you will rise, do not rise quietly. Rise with laughter that shakes the room. Rise with confidence that silences doubt. Rise with boldness that reminds the world you were never meant to break. Speak over your life words that ignite fire in your spirit. I am not my past. I am not my pain. I am not what I lost. I am more. I am stronger. I am rising. I am unstoppable every morning. Declare it until your own ears believe it. Until your own soul begins to dance to the rhythm of your resilience. Greatness was never meant to be easy. Diamonds are created under pressure. Gold is purified by fire. Strong towers are tested by storms, and yes, you are the living proof of all three. Pressure has not destroyed you, it has revealed you. Fire has not consumed you, it has refined you. Storms have not swept you away, they have anchored you deeper. You are not weak, you are a warrior. You are not forgotten, you are favored. You are not finished, you are only beginning. So step out with your head high and your spirit unafraid. Step into tomorrow with the boldness of someone who knows the battle is already won. Step into your destiny with the certainty of someone who knows the future belongs to them. Because the truth is simple and undeniable. You will never have to go through that again. The old chapter is closed, the pain has lost its power, and the cycle has been broken. And what lies ahead is not struggle, not fear, not defeat, but joy, peace, strength, and a future so magnificent that even your past will bow in silence before it.